This chunk of video is going to deal with the teaching pedagogy problem solving. At the end of this video, you will be able to define problem solving as an instructional strategy, enlist the importance of problem solving, infer the role of facilitator in problem solving and identify the key provisions for the process, and comprehend the process of problem solving in an ECE setting. To define the strategy problem solving. As a teaching strategy, the problem solving technique adopted by an educator helps children to find solutions to problems, confusions, and challenges that they face in their day-to-day task. Problem solving as an instructional practice serves as a foundation for active learning in a young child. Though opportunities for problem solving occurs in the day-to-day life of a child, the educator handling young children should carefully use a child's experiences in social, cognitive and emotional arenas to enable problem solving and encourage tactics that help them in the process of lifelong learning. But how does the child learn through problem solving? When presented with problems, a child learns to formulate ideas, try out those ideas, accept or reject them by means of manipulating objects, interaction with others, and exploring social relationships. As rightly observed by Piaget, a child understands better when he or she discovers or invents something. The discovery or invention is possible only by employing the process of problem solving. Many types of research had also concluded that problem solving serves as a vehicle for active learning. And you should understand that the problem solving aids in developing positive learning dispositions. Though problem solving skills is the foundation for all learning and development arenas, including the development of 3 readiness and its related competence, this pedagogy assists children in developing a range of positive learning dispositions, namely initiative, self-confidence, social skills, responsibility, and resilience. So for such a pedagogy, what is the role of a facilitator? The instructional practice, problem solving, is something that has to be modeled by the facilitator herself in the classroom environment. The facilitator can articulate a problem to the child and discuss solutions with him or her. A typical example is a facilitator asking children, "Can you think of anything that will help Ritvika stop crying?" By articulating the problem and seeking solutions from the children, the process of problem solving gets emulated by the child. In adopting problem solving as an instructional practice, the role of the facilitator is twofold. The first is value the process and show the willingness to trust the learners. Here the learner is a child. And the second is to establish and maintain a setting that encourages problem solving. For an educator to use problem solving, an attitude of willingness to learn from children is most important. The educator can model the problem solving process by being inquisitive, observing, attending, and questioning. Now let us understand what are the provisions that has to be made to adopt the problem solving as an instructional pedagogy. As you are aware, problem solving is a skill that has to be practiced for active learning. So the classroom setting has to provide needed supplies or provisions to facilitate problem solving within the classroom schedule. The most important provisions are time, space, and open-ended materials. Let us see each of these provisions in detail. The first one being time. Enough time has to be provided to the children to make choices, discuss alternatives, accept or reject alternatives through their own evaluation of mistakes. For example, increase the session time of playing with building blocks to best suit the problem solving process. The child's realization that they have more time to identify and resolve problems facilitates effectiveness. The second is space. As it is very sure that problem solving skill among children gets enhanced by team projects or group work, adequate space within the classroom has to be provided to ease the group discussion meetings. For example, easily movable writing tables have to be kept to allow the children to sit in a group and discuss. However, the facilitator observing the children in group work should also assess the patterns of traffic inside the class that hinders the completion of a task and act accordingly to eliminate or move these materials to promote problem solving. Open-ended materials. The materials that are provided in the classroom should strictly follow the fundamental principles of play equipment, namely safety, durability, and variety. Labeled storage units should be easily accessible to children. When a variety of materials are provided for children, they try to use it innovatively and diversely, which in turn promotes problem solving. And now, after knowing about the provisions of problem solving in an ECE setting, what are the steps to be followed in adopting the strategy? The problem solving skill can be taught in the young child either through an individual task or teamwork. Whatever the type is, the steps are the same. The main steps are identify the problem, brainstorm variety of alternatives, choose one alternative and try it out, evaluate what has happened. The most challenging step in the problem solving process is identification. Identification of a problem involves what, when, and why of that situation or task. For example, in a situation where Niveta cries saying, "Jason hit me," the problem here is not the hitting. Instead, it is why of the hitting. Only when the reason for hitting is known, the problem gets identified. The second step of brainstorming promotes the children's communication, cooperation, and negotiation skill. They also learn to express their ideas with ease. The third step of choosing an alternative helps a child to take up responsibility, come to a conclusion, and develop empathy. The last step of evaluating the outcome, the child learns to assess their own choices, learn from mistakes, and try to be independent. So now to conclude, problem solving as an instructional strategy, when suitably provided by the facilitator at early years, the positive disposition of the children, namely self-confidence, resilience, socialization skills, gets enhanced, which in turn help them to lead a productive life later. Thank you.